They say there's a prison no one talks about, not because it's secret, but because everyone who does seems to disappear, like their names were never written anywhere, like the world swallows their existence whole. The prison no one talks about. The title itself feels like a curse whispered through rusted bars, and every time someone even says it, a door somewhere creaks open, waiting. I first heard about it from an old guard who worked at a maximum security facility in the 80s. He said there was one place that didn't officially exist, a black site buried somewhere in the desert, built underground, far from light, far from mercy. It wasn't for criminals, it was for people the government couldn't explain. People who came back from death. People who saw things they shouldn't. He told me to never look for it. But curiosity is the loudest ghost of all. I looked anyway. And I found it. I remember the moment I stepped off the road. My GPS stopped working hours ago, and the desert around me was endless, gray, silent. The sand wasn't even warm. It was cold, too. Cold. I found a fence without markings, just a gate locked by a chain that looked older than me. But here's the thing, it wasn't locked. It just looked that way. The chain fell apart at my touch, brittle like bone dust. The air changed the second I crossed it. Heavier, like something was pressing against my chest, whispering that I shouldn't be there. But I kept going, because the human mind is stupidly brave until it's too late. There was no building at first, just what looked like a collapsed hill. But when I brushed away the sand, I found concrete underneath, smooth, cold, with a faint symbol scratched into it, something like an eye with no pupil. When I touched it, a sound echoed from deep below, a mechanical groan, like the earth waking up. A staircase appeared where the sand had been, leading down into pure blackness. No wind, no insects, just the sound of my breath. And then I went down. The deeper I went, the more I could feel something alive inside the walls, as if the concrete itself was breathing, flexing slightly with every step. My flashlight began to flicker, even though the batteries were new. The steps went on longer than they should have, 20, 50, 100 and... When I reached the bottom, there was a hallway lined with doors on both sides. Every door had a nameplate. But the names weren't names, just words like removed, forgotten, returned. The air smelled like rust and mold and something else I couldn't name. Something that reminded me of blood left in a closed room for too long. I tried one of the doors, and to my surprise, it opened easily. Inside was a single chair, bolted to the floor, facing a wall. The wall had dozens of handprints, bloody, smeared, desperate. I thought maybe someone had died there, but then I noticed the handprints were on the ceiling too, upside down. I backed out fast, but when I turned, all the other doors down the hall were open now, swinging slowly as if something had just passed through them all. That's when I heard a voice, soft, cracked, and impossibly close. Who opened my door? I froze. The sound wasn't behind me, it was above me. I tilted my flashlight up and there was nothing, just darkness pressing down, breathing with me, mocking the rhythm of my lungs. I ran. Every step echoed too loud, and every echo seemed to come back from a different direction, like the hallway was shifting itself, rearranging just to keep me lost. The signs on the walls began to change too. Where it once said Cell Block A, it now said Cell Block U. Then Cell Block Open. Then Cell Block Here. I reached a control room and slammed the door shut behind me. The room looked untouched, frozen in time monitors covered in dust, a single red light still blinking on a console. The screens flickered, and for a moment I saw static, then flashes of faces, people screaming silently, their mouths wide open, eyes gone. Each face lasted a second before melting into another, and then, in the reflection of the largest screen, I saw movement behind me. Primera turned fast, but no one was there. The door was still closed, but something was tapping on the glass window. Not with a hand with a nail. Slow, deliberate, like it was waiting for me to answer. I leaned closer and whispered, "Who's there?" And that's when I heard it whisper back, "No one talks about us." Primera jumped back, and all the monitors turned black except one. It showed the hallway outside the room. Someone or something was standing there. Tall. Pale. No face. Just a hollow stretched void where the head should be. And the longer I stared, the closer it came. The screen flickered, and suddenly it was right at the door, head tilting like it could see me even without eyes. The red light above the monitor turned green. The door handle started to move. I bolted for the emergency exit, running down corridors that didn't seem to end. The air felt thicker now, like I was underwater. The fluorescent lights flickered faster and faster until they were practically strobing. And in every flash I saw glimpses of that thing behind me, sometimes walking, sometimes crawling on the walls, sometimes right beside me, but gone before I could scream. I crashed into another hallway and saw cells filled with shadows moving on their own. Some looked human, some didn't. Faces pressed against glass, mouths stretching too wide, eyes begging without words. One of them mouthed something I couldn't hear, so I stepped closer. It repeated the motion, and I finally realized what it was saying. Don't run. It feeds on movement. But I was already running. I turned the corner, and everything went silent. Completely silent. My footsteps made no sound. My breath didn't echo. Even my heartbeat felt distant. Primera looked down, and there was no shadow beneath me. I looked up, and there it was, crawling along the ceiling, head upside down, arms bending the wrong way, moving without sound, staring at me with nothing. Its mouth opened where the face should have been, and I heard every voice I'd ever known scream my name at once. Then darkness swallowed everything. When I woke, I was outside again, lying in the cold sand. My car was gone. My phone showed no time, no signal, no battery, just a single image burned into the screen a door, marked forgotten. I thought it was over, but that night, when I got home, every mirror in my house had the same symbol scratched into it, eye with no pupil. I tried to clean it, but it wouldn't come off. I smashed one mirror, and behind the glass, I saw concrete the Samekind. I don't know what's real anymore. Sometimes I hear tapping from inside the walls. Slow, patient, counting. Sometimes I hear the voice again, whispering, "Who opened my door?" Sometimes I catch glimpses of that face not in front of me, but in reflections, in glass, in the corner of my vision. And sometimes, when I blink, I'm not sure if I'm still outside the prison or if I never left. Because maybe the prison no one talks about isn't buried in the desert. Maybe it's inside us. Maybe it's the place where every fear you've buried waits for light. Maybe once you've heard its name, it already knows you. Maybe you're next. So if you're hearing this now, and your lights flicker, or your reflection moves half a second late, don't panic. It just means you've been noticed. It means the walls are listening. It means the door has started to open. The prison no one talks about doesn't let go of named Zizli. And now, it knows yours. So turn off the lights. Look the door, and whatever you do, don't look behind you. Because that's where it stands. Silent. Patient. Waiting for you to speak its name again. And if you want to know what happens when someone answers its call, don't stop here. If you dare, follow the next nightmare at the tape. It shouldn't exist a story even darker than this one.